Hi there, John. Okay, so more essays. Wonderful. Let's take a look at this. Okay, many young people regularly change their jobs over the years. What are the reasons for this? Do the advantages of this outweigh the disadvantages? Okay, it's a two-question essay, all right, which means that you should answer each question in its own paragraph. Let's see how you did this. Experts throughout both the developing and developed world have debated about the causes of recent young employee fluctuation. Some people claim that the cons of frequent job change outweigh the benefits. Personally, I strongly disagree. All right, what I wanted here was a linker, okay, because I mean, you need to show this contrast here, and you've got they're essentially two separate sentences, and you're joining them into one, but you need to connect them with some sort of linking device. So, the cons outweigh the benefits. However, personally, I strongly disagree. This essay will discuss the reasons for this habit using examples from Harvard University and leading technological companies, or a leading, okay? Firstly, there is ample evidence that the main motive for young people to change their jobs is financial evaluation. So know that, and I have no idea. I don't think this even exists as a collocation. What do you mean financial evaluation? Do you mean financial considerations? Maybe this is what you mean. I'm going to find out in the rest of the paragraph, but I can tell you at first glance that's not a collocation, okay? All right. It is largely because of the lack of qualified working force, qualified workforce, and people's awareness of their value for employers, not the employers. For example, recent empirical research by Harvard University showed that 90% of employees who, careful with your typing, resign and find a new job, no comma, gain higher financial reward compared to their former employment. Okay, I think what's missing here is sorry. So let me show you what I mean. Gain higher financial reward compared to that of their former employment, because you want to make sure that you're comparing the same things. So the reward of your new job compared to the reward of your previous job. All right, and so in order to do that, you need to say that of, okay, compared to that of their former employment. Therefore, it is clear that if an employee changes from an underpaid position, there would be a good probability to gain monetary benefit without A. Okay, fine. Okay, on the other hand, there are also drawbacks of the regular job change, namely loss of professional network that correlates with this habit. Now, this is not a sentence on its own, it's just a fragment. So rather than making a new sentence, put a comma here, lowercase n, and then it's a complete sentence. Is it a little long? It's not a big deal. It's not so long, okay? So just keep those together. Okay. Even though there is a way to keep in touch with important coworkers, lack of everyday contact weakens occupational relationships. For instance, an extensive study by Microsoft demonstrates that just 10% of employees are able, okay, there's a long explanation as to why. 10% of employees are able to meaningfully use their contacts from former employment. As a consequence, the new network is required to be made. No, a new network is required to be made, which is definitely a disadvantage related to the custom of quick employment change. Okay, this last sentence is a little awkward, okay? Let's see, how could you have fixed it? A new network is required to be made, which is definitely a disadvantage related to the trend of job switching. Okay, that's a nice, clear way of saying it. Alrighty, so your conclusion. To conclude from the examples and arguments given, I firmly believe that the pros of regular job change, I don't like the here, namely financial benefits, are more important in comparison to the cons. It is predicted that if the reasons such as the demand for highly skilled workforce keeps increasing, a higher rate of fluctuation will be experienced. Okay, nice. And now, you essentially believe that the positives outweigh the negatives, right? Which means that the order of these two paragraphs is wrong. We always talk about the side we support towards the bottom, in other words, towards our conclusion, And we first start out by analyzing the side that we agree with less. It's just a convention of essay writing. There are a lot of reasons for it that I won't get into in this video correction. But what this would do, Jen, is this would affect your coherence and cohesion score because it's not the correct order. It's not a logical progression of your arguments, okay? So that's what you need to switch. Let's now look at your task 1, which is great. The school preference one. Lovely. The 2 pie charts above illustrate different preferred subjects in New South Wales in 2014 and 17. There were 3 most favorited subjects. Well, I'm not really a big fan of the word favorited. There were 3 most popular subjects here in New South Wales in 2014, namely, geography, excuse me, geography and maths, preferred by approximately 27%. Now, as you can see here, you know what? Let's not go blind reading this. Let's see. There we go. Okay. So when you refer to the 27%, you actually mean 27% each. So you really need to say that, okay? So namely geography and maths preferred by approximately 27% each. All right? Otherwise, I was like, what is he saying? I mean, what are we saying here? Is it 27 combined? It's not clear. So you have to make that distinction. And physics. Okay, fine. While the previously mentioned subjects represented roughly 3/4 of all, in the last quarter were biology, PE, IT, and history with a preference of 13.4, 18.7, and 1.2, respectively. Okay. Of students, respectively. All right, fine. Pretty clear. I like the way you grouped it. That was nice. And you referred to this at a quarter. Good, 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 good. Even though the popularity of physics remained roughly the same in 2017, maths and geography's preference shrank by approximately 15 and 10%. Don't forget to add here, respectively. And I'm not a huge fan of putting an apostrophe after an inanimate object. We usually use this type of possessive only for living things. Of course, there are some exceptions. Math and geography are not among those exceptions. So you could have said instead, the math and geography preferences, or the preference for maths and geography. And then this way you could avoid this whole awkward apostrophe thing. All right? Don't forget the respectively here. Okay, great. On the other hand, the popularity of history skyrocketed. I would love to see here the data for this skyrocketing. It's a huge leap. I mean, it basically skyrocketed 20-fold almost. Okay, so do mention that. I mean, it's a big, big, big piece of this pie chart. So don't just kind of, mention that it skyrocketed and be done with it. And also biology came to be more preferred. IT remained steadily unpopular as a subject, favored by just under 2% of students. Okay, I see we're running into a problem here. Let's just finish it off and then I'll tell you what that big problem is. Okay, overall, in 2014, the most preferred subjects in New South Wales were maths and geography, whereas in 2017, popularity of these two decreased in favor of biology. The most unpopular subject of both years was information technology. Okay, so now that we've finished it, I can say conclusively that there is a big problem. Let's see if you can figure out what that problem is. In your introductory paragraph here, you mentioned 7 subjects in 2014, but you missed one. You forgot chemistry. Okay, is it a tiny piece? Yeah, it is, but it's considered a key piece of information. And the thing that makes it even more key is the fact that it doesn't appear anywhere in 2017. I mean, it just disappeared. It's as if nobody decided to take chemistry at all. So, even though I liked a lot of what you wrote, a lot of it is wonderful, it's well organized, you really picked out a lot of great trends, so great job with that. The fact that you missed one of these categories is a really big deal, and it would absolutely affect your task achievement score, okay? So really absolutely make sure that you don't miss any of the categories. It's really important. Okay, Jen, so that's it. We've gotten a lot of feedback here, so now you need to obviously correct these, return them back, your error correction list, obviously. I'm here, I'm waiting for them. I hope you found this feedback helpful, and I hope it will help you progress with your remaining essays. So good luck with them, and I'll be here to see what you write next.